The Annabelle doll. We all love when dolls are involved in scary things, don't we? The real Annabelle doll was an innocent-looking rag doll that was for years sat in the Warrens' now-closed occult museum. The story begins in 1970 when a mother bought the doll at a hobby shop for her daughter, a nurse. Things got weird fast when the doll levitated and moved around. People were convinced that it tried to strangle them by means of dreams and necklaces. Ugh. The Warrens came in and determined that the toy was possessed by an inhuman demonic spirit, locking it up in their museum with ritualistic prayers soon after. We'll be sticking with our mass-produced Barbies, thanks. Yeah, like we'll honestly be sticking with our toys. I mean, I was one of those kids. I played with Bratz, I played with Barbies. I love the mermaid changing color dolls. But there's just something so creepy about the larger dolls with the glass eyes that I know some people obsessed with when I was a kid. Why are they such a magnet for paranormal activity? I just feel like that's a thing. It's probably most likely been perpetuated by horror films and things like that, but man, there's just something so creepy about the hollow eyes of a doll. The South End Werewolf. The case of Bill Ramsey, also known as the South End Werewolf, was one of the stranger cases that Ed and Lorraine dealt with. When he grew up, this possession came back when he bit and attacked a stranger, a nurse, and finally a police officer. Eventually, he was taken to a mental hospital where the doctors couldn't explain his condition as a mental illness. Bill Ramsey then traveled to the United States with the Warrens, where a priest performed an exorcism which cured him, but not before people witnessed him partly transform into a werewolf. No. Whoa, she's getting spicy. This is getting very spicy, I will say. I thought it was gonna be like a Teen Wolf situation. Nope. Hey guys, it's Rachel Fisher back again with Top 10 Central Dark. Yes, it is Scare Rachel Day, apparently, because I'm just I'm a wimp on a normal day, and today I'm just a puddle of gunk. Like, I'm just completely terrified of everything, and I think I'm gonna have a nightmare, but who knows? Today we're reviewing Scary Possession Cases Solved by Ed and Lorraine Warren, the paranormal legends, who also spawned a whole bunch of scary movies, like the scariest movie I've ever seen. And again, this isn't saying much. I know there's a bunch of horror fans on the channel, but The Conjuring, yeah, that one couldn't get over for a really long time. So, does anyone agree with that? Let us know in the comments. Satan's Harvest. It is very crazy to me that Santa and Satan are just one letter away from being the same thing. One case that was actually turned into a book is known as Satan's Harvest. This case was about the possession of Maurice Theriault, known as Frenchie. Duh, because he's French, I guess. Yes. Frenchie was a farmer who essentially had two personalities, one that was friendly towards his family and neighbors, and another that was... Once Ed and Lorraine stepped in, they encountered Frenchie bleeding from his eyes and mouth, crosses appearing on his body, and even French-Canadian messages appearing on his back. That's so creepy. I'm glad they solved that issue. That's awful. That'd be so terrifying. The idea of demon possession is not something I welcome at all. I'm like, nope, that sounds awful. Ugh, man, this is bringing me back to all the days I used to watch creepy stuff on the television. I used to watch creepy stuff on the television. Borley Church Haunting. The grounds upon which the Borley Church now reside have housed various religious edifices since the 11th century. Ooh, where is it located? I don't know where that is. Folklore claims that the earliest hauntings there to have originated in the 14th century following the execution of a nun who had an affair with a monk. Spicy. There is no record, but the first substantiated reports came in 1860s. The Warrens traveled to Essex, England to investigate claims of ghostly chanting and ethereal organ music, accompanied by the ghosts of a monk and a nun roaming the grounds. Serving as inspiration for The Nun, a potential film of this case would not only be terrifying, but reveal the true story behind the preternatural postulate. Again, like, as soon as you bring up anything to do with Conjuring, my gut just turns into a bunch of knots, and I'm just, no thank you, no thank you. Requiescat pace. The Perron Family. In 1971, Roger and Carolyn Perron had moved into an 18th century Rhode Island farmhouse with their 5 daughters. They claimed that spirits from 8 generations of one family lived in the house, including a tall woman whose head was like a sack of cobwebs with little tendrils of hair hanging out. In 1973, the demonologist dropped by to help the Perrons investigate the house. According to Andrea Perron, one of the daughters, there was a scary seance in which her mother spoke in a strange language and started levitating in a chair. The Perrons lived in the house for 7 more years. How? Huh? How do you continue to live in a place that does stuff like that? This question is not rhetorical. Answer me. Like how, I mean, besides financial issues, because they might have trouble selling it, I would just rent it out to people or something and lie. I have no idea. Like maybe burn it down and claim insurance. Why would you even live there for that long, bro? Ugh. The West Point haunting. Back in the 1970s, the Warrens were called to a military academy in West Point, New York. When Ed and Lorraine investigated, Lorraine felt the presence of an Irish cook named Molly who knocked over wine bottles and messed up freshly made beds. The officers complained about a ghost moving objects around the quarters, which was later identified as a spirit named Greer. After some research, it was believed that the spirit was that of a Lawrence Greer, who was a Buffalo soldier turned murderer. However, after his trial, there is no record of what happened to the soldier. They did, in fact, keep very poor records back then, so maybe something did happen to him that's not as scary, but I think probably they just buried him in some unmarked grave because they tend to do that with murderers because they were murderers, you know? And now he's angry and he's back for revenge! The Lindley Street haunting. The happenings occurred a few years after Gerald and Laura Goodwin adopted a girl named Marcia. The case drew a lot of publicity, with several people claiming they actually saw furniture move by itself and a crucifix shooting from a wall. One of the earliest elements of this case was that some people claimed to have heard Marcia's pet cat speak, and one reverend even claimed to have heard Sam the cat singing Christmas carols in the basement. You named your cat Sam? Lame? A part of me would be very excited. I have to admit it. If my pet spoke words, I'd be like, oh my God, that's awesome. Now you have no excuse when I tell you not to do stuff there or not to eat that. You understand me. Good God. So they actually solved that case? And that's wild. What did they find out? The Smurl haunting. The Smurl haunting is one of Ed and Lorraine Warren's most famous cases. The case revolved around a family who had a demon inhabiting their home for the better part of a decade. Demon was extremely violent towards the family and even once through their wall. Aside from the usual bed shakings and loud noises late at night, sorry, I use humor to deflect from my gut-wrenchingly terrified fear. I love the stories of Ed and Lorraine Warren. They freak me out, and I believe them too. My skeptical side argues with her all the time, like argues with the part of me that's like, no, I totally believe these people experience these things. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, do what you need to do. We love it. And we know that you love scary stuff. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, guys, and until next time, take care and stay scared. I want you to recognize this outfit today because this is the Scare Rachel day. Because for some reason, I am having paranoid experiences in my house thinking that it's haunted, but it's just the neighbors upstairs because I'm reading all of this stuff. Because I'm such a wimp! I shouldn't have laughed. And one reverend even can't speak today. My smoothie now. Number 8, Satan. I almost said Santa's Harvest. Maurice Theriault, known as Frenchie. I wonder why his last name was so French. No? Oh, I hate that. Sorry, it just exited. I was reading it. Ooh, that looks gross. I know this looks gross, but it's actually delicious. I don't know what that means. Great, you can say it. Is that a blooper? That's just for you, man. Oh my God, I thought it's gone for 48 minutes. I was like, no way.